G'day guys, it's me again. I'm back. I told you I had a bit of free time today, so I'm going to be doing a movie review now. I might just do another movie a little bit later. That could be three in one day. It's a record for me, but hopefully you're not sick of me yet. This is going to be a review. This is a non-horror film. It's from Sweden, so Swedish language, English subtitles. It was made in 2003. This was nominated for an Academy Award, so it's one of the better known foreign films. Directed by Mikael Hafstrom, made in 2003, and this one is called Evil. The Swedish title, I'm going to give it a go. I know I'm going to butcher it, but I think it's fun just to give them a go. The Swedish title is Ondskan. Okay, well that's my best Swedish. Hopefully I didn't make too much of a fool of myself. So basically, Evil is about this young boy named Eric on the front there. Now, Eric is a very troubled individual. He's a very violent young man. And he has a very violent stepfather. So it's the old thing of if you're being raised in a violent environment, you're going to become a violent person yourself. And this is the case with Eric. And he's getting into a lot of fights at school. And he's getting into a lot of trouble. So at the start of the film, he gets into a fight and it causes him to be expelled from his school. So he's kicked out. And his parents are very, very upset with him. And they decide to send him to a boarding school. Now, this boarding school is very, very strict. And they have a very particular sort of behavior pattern that they enforce. And they brutally enforce it because they give the authority to the older students, and those older students are able to do whatever they want to maintain order, and the people running this boarding school turn a blind eye. So Eric gets there, and the intentions from the parents is to straighten him out. So he gets to the boarding school, and he becomes familiar with the environment. And very soon, Eric realizes that if you step out of line, the older kids, the people in charge of the authority sort of figures, they will humiliate you and they will use violence. They will hit you if needed. But the best method they have is to humiliate you in front of everybody. So it really is a bullying tactic. And Eric very soon takes exception to this and he doesn't like it and he ends up fighting back. And this causes a lot of problems. Not only is he undermining the authority of the students, but he is also making his stepfather angry. So every time he comes back to visit his mum, his stepfather gives him a beating. But he just can't help but fight against these older students because there is just so much injustice. So he's really caught in a very awkward spot. And things get worse and worse for him, and the people that Eric is friends with are also getting assaulted and humiliated, all because of Eric's actions. So the film pretty much, the tension between the authority figures and Eric, just the tensions rise and rise and rise until it comes to a very sort of thrilling climax. And if you want to know what happens in that, I would highly recommend you go out there and check this one out for yourself. Very, very interesting. So, as I said, it's an Academy Award nominee, so it has got a lot of attention, and if you can pick it up, then hopefully that synopsis has gained enough interest for you. But that's as far as I'm going to go, so please go and see the film for yourself if you want to know how this unfolds. Now, my thoughts on the film. This does paint a very, very serious subject. It surrounds bullying, but it also surrounds many other issues. Now, the generalizations, for one, there's a lot of it on YouTube. Eric is a bully himself, but he is getting bullied by other people now. And the only way he can see is to fight back, use violence, fight fire with fire. And that just gets him in even more trouble. And it really does beg the question, is violence the answer? And this film, it doesn't paint anti-violence or for violence. It really leaves the viewer to make up their own mind. In my opinion, violence against violence just escalates things. It never stops. You hit me, I hit you back. I hit you back, you hit me back. I hit you back, you hit me back. So it just escalates. And that's exactly what this film shows. The fact that violence just creates even more violence, and it just gets out of control, and it's before they know it, things are out of control. And yeah, so in my opinion, this paints that violence is not the answer, but other people may see that differently because I'm not going to tell you how it ends, but it doesn't paint one or the other. It just leaves it out in the open for debate, and that's the beauty of this film. I think this is a great film. I would highly recommend it. The acting is absolutely superb, but it's the messages that the film is sending. Now, Eric's best friend had nothing to do with this, but he gets targeted because he's friends with Eric, but he had nothing to do with it. He didn't deserve it. And that's exactly what's been happening on YouTube. So it's a very, very real situation that everybody faces, is that you get generalized. If you know, are friends with someone, you're automatically painted as an evil person, that you must think exactly like them. But in reality, in this film, his friend is a good guy. But it's just Eric believing that violence is the answer, taking matters into his own hands, whereas he probably should have reported it to someone in higher authority. He just saw this as an opportunity to get back at these guys, but at the end of the day, it just escalated things. So that's the beauty of the film. It's just the real message, and it leaves a lot of debate open. And if you see the film, you'll know what I mean. And I'm sure that for those of you who've seen the film, I would like to see your opinions on it, because it's a movie that's going to provoke a response. And it's a great movie. The acting is great. Cinematography is excellent. It is a brutal film. It does not flinch away from the violence. A lot of graphic punching. There's no killings, but there are beatings, and the beatings can be quite bloody, and just a very brutal way of keeping authority. So it's definitely not a film for the faint-hearted, but it's a very psychological film, and the real strength is in the messages that it gets out there and forces people to take notice of, and it forces a response. Now, bullying, a very serious subject, and this is probably the best film that really goes into the mentality of a bully. And Eric, as I said, he starts off as a bully. He has a very abusive stepfather. So that's another sort of theme that comes out, is that if you're raised up in a violent environment, you become a violent person yourself, because that's what you know. That's how you deal with your problems. And this is exactly the case with Eric. So he's not a guy you hate. He's a guy you feel sorry for, because he has had a tough life. And no character you feel that you support, and there's no real character that you hate. The authority figures have a right to maintain order, because Eric is being very difficult, but it's just the way they do it which really provokes a sympathetic response for Eric. So it's a film that is not in black and white, and bullying, the subject of bullying, is not black and white. It's a very, very damaging thing. And yeah, I mean, this film will provoke a response. It is a great film, and I would highly, highly recommend you go out there and check this one out. It's not overly long. It's 110 minutes, so just under 2 hours. But the pacing is very, very good, and the story will keep you gripped, and you won't be able to leave your eyes. Your eyes won't be able to leave the screen, because it really is one of those films. So I highly, highly recommend you check out this great Swedish film. You won't regret it. So that's my review. I hope you enjoyed it. Until next time, take care of yourselves, and I'll see you later.